So first we will study about different color models, and then we will see the other alternate color models and how to convert between different color models, and then we will see what are the pseudo color image processing. In that we are going to see the intensity slicing and intensity to color transformations. Also, we are going to see the basics of full color image processing. So all of us are familiar with the RGB color model. The RGB color model is the red, green, blue color model. Whenever we are having any computer monitors, television sets, and in the movies and all these things, this particular color model is used. This is called as an additive color model because we go on adding the colors to the base and then we are going to build new colors. So the new colors what we are going to get, it is a combination of always of the red, green and blue. When we have the combination of the red, green and blue, we are going to get white color as the output color. So if I am going to consider the R to be as 8-bit, G to be as 8-bit and B also to be as 8-bit combination, then we can get, totally we can get 2 to the power of 8 colors. That means we will be having the range from 0 to 255. That means we will be having 256 red color, 256 green as well as 256 shades of blue, because each of this is occupying 8-bit. So we can combine all these things and then we can get different colors. So here the RGB is called as the additive coloring. The additive coloring is combinations. That means when you are going to add what you are going to get the colors. That is called as the additive combination. By using this additive combination, we can get even the complementary colors also. That means when I am going to combine the green and the blue, the color here what I am getting. So the green and the blue, this is called as the cyan color. And then when I'm going to combine red with the blue, I'm going to get this as the magenta color. And why is the color which is obtained when you go for combining red and green? The other color model is called as the CMY color model. The CMY color model is for the cyan, magenta and yellow, which were complementary colors in the RGB color model. This CMY color model is a subtractive color model. That means we are going to remove the colors and then we are going to get the different type of shades. That is why it is called as a subtractive color model. In the CMY color model, we are going to make use of a black color also as a combination for the CMY, and this is called as the CMYK color model. This is subtractive because it is going to reduce the light which will be reflected. The ink is going to subtract the brightness from the white color. We are going to represent these values by using the bit 0 or 1, where 0 stands for no color and 1 is standing for the full color. So the color will be varying between the range from 0 to 1. You can look at the CMY color combination over here. We are having the cyan color, the magenta and the yellow. And you can see at the center where all the colors are intersecting, that is equal to black color. So here the key color, when we are going to combine all these things, the color what we are going to get is the black color. And the cyan color, it is a combination of white minus red, and magenta is green minus Y, and the yellow is equal to W minus G. So we can get these colors by making use of the complementary colors of the RGB color model. This is the visual difference between the RGB color and the CMY color model when we go for the actual printing in the paper. So this is the difference what you're going to get. You can see that the RGB color model is much more brighter, whereas the CMYK model, it is little what you can tell, subtle. It's not so bright as. So this is how we are going to get the visual printing of the RGB and the CMYK color models. So we will see some of the differences. CMYK is a 4-color model. In this mode, we are going to make use of the colors which are cyan, magenta, yellow and black. When we combine this, we are going to get different shades of the colors. So RGB is additive type of color mode. In this model, we are going to combine the primary colors, the red, green and blue for various levels, and then we are going to get different colors. As seen by the picture, the RGB is more vibrant than the CMYK. Whereas if you go for the CMYK, it is very subtle and it is very pleasing to the eyes. For reading and or what we can use, you can go for CMYK. But the picture representation, if you want it to be more vibrant, then we can go for a RGB color model. So in the RGB, when all the three colors are combined, and we are going to get white color, the maximum of red, green and blue, we are going to get it as the white color. In CMYK, when the first three colors are added together, the result is not pure black but rather a very dark brown. So that is the actual difference. And then the CMYK primary color model, it is used in printers, whereas when we go for the display devices like the computers, or when we go for the animations and movies and all, the colors what is preferred is the RGB color model. So here also there is a picture in which you can get the difference between the CMY color model and the RGB color model. Whenever we want to go for converting from one color model to another color model, we are going to make use of some formula for this. And when we are going to convert from RGB to CMYK model, so first what we have to do, we have to change the range of the colors. The RGB values, because it is having 8-bit information, and this 8 bits correspond to 256 values starting from 0 to 255. First we have to divide by 255 to change the range from 0 to 255 as 0 to 1, because the minimum and the maximum color what we are going to have is 0 and 1. So the RGB values should be divided by 255. After taking these values, now we can go for computing the value of the CMYK from the RGB colors. In the CMYK, first we have to calculate the black color. So the black color can be got by combining the red, green and blue. It is calculated whatever the maximum value of the red, green and blue will be there, and 1 minus maximum of this red, green, blue, it is going to give us the color, that is the K. The K is nothing but it is a black component in my CMYK model. The same color can be calculated from the red and the black colors. So once I know the black color, this black color can be used in different ways over here. So the cyan color is calculated from the red and black color by using this formula, C is equal to 1 minus R dash minus K divided by 1 minus K, where K is the black color and R dash is the red color. Similarly, we can go for calculating the magenta color as well as the yellow color. The magenta color is calculated from the green and black, whereas the yellow color is calculated from the blue and black colors. Let us take one example to convert the RGB values to CMYK color model. Let us take one color violet, which is expressed in the form of RGB values. For the color violet, the red component is equal to 100, green is equal to 50, and blue is equal to 150. These colors are expressed in terms of the values from 0 to 255. Now I want to convert this into the CMYK. First I am going to find the values of R dash, G dash and B dash, which is equal to 100 by 255. That means I am going to take the value in terms of 255 and divide it, and then I am going to get the decimal values. So this R dash is equal to 100 by 255, G dash is equal to 50 by 255, and B dash is equal to 150 by 255. Among all these three values, the highest value is equal to the B dash value. So from this B dash value, I can get the value of the K. The K value will be equal to 0.412 because of the subtraction of 1 minus 0.588, which is the maximum among the red, green and blue. So when I got this K color, then I can go for combining this to get the CMY colors. Of course, the C depends on K and the red, M, that is the magenta, it depends on K and the green, and the Y depends on the K and the blue color. So from using the previous formula, I can get the conversion from the RGB color model to the CMY color model. Next color model is the HSI color model. So to understand the HSI color model, we will understand some concepts about the light source. So usually, naturally, how we are going to differentiate between one color and another color, it all depends upon the brightness, the hue and the saturation. So what is this hue and saturation and the brightness? Hue is one attribute which is associated with the dominant wavelength in a mixture of light waves. It means among all the light waves what is present, which is a dominant that will be visible. That is called as the hue. And the saturation is going to refer to the purity, that is the relative purity of the amount of white light mixed with the hue. That means first we will take the dominant color, and for this dominant color I am going to mix a color which is called as the white light, and then I am going to get a saturation, and then the full saturation, that is the intensity what we are going to get, it is a combination of the pure spectrum. Why should we go for the HSI color model? Because whenever we are going to see any object, we are not going to measure the object in terms of their values. Realistically, when we are seeing, we don't go for the R is having this much percentage or green is having this much percentage. We don't calculate like that. How we actually we are going to calculate? We are going to see its the hue, saturation and brightness. That is the normal measuring what we are going to make by using our human eyes. But the RGB and the CMY color model, they are best suited for the hardware implementations. But for the human eye perception, these models are not very much suited. So the best suited one is the HSI color model, because in the HSI color model, we are going to look at the color in its percentage of the hue, saturation and brightness, instead of telling which component is of how much percentage. That is difficult to identify when we go for a RGB and the CMY color model. In the HSI model, that is the hue, saturation and the intensity color model, we are going to consider the intensity components, and then we are going to separate all these things and try to understand the color carrying information in terms of the hue and saturation in any color images. The HSI color model is very useful model in the image processing, so that we can go for applying this in very varied algorithms based on the color descriptions that are very natural and which is very understandable to human beings. rather than going for a CMY and a RGB model, which is in terms of computer system model. That means there only we're talking in terms of the values and the range between 0 to 255. But in this one HSI model, we're going to talk about the hue, saturation and the intensity, which is the basic parameter for any human being to understand a color. The HSI model, it is using three measures to describe the colors: the hue, saturation and the intensity. So we know that the hue is describing a maximum wavelength of one particular color component. So it can be a yellow color or a orange color or red color. So it is describing the maximum wavelength, and the saturation is how much this particular pure color is combined with the white color. And the intensity, this is the brightness, and it is not possible to measure because it is very subjective. So what we are going to do, we are going to have some achromatic notions that are going to tell us how we are going to visualize these colors in the gray level images. So as discussed previously, an RGB color image can be viewed as a three monochrome intensity images. This comes rather clear because we take the color cube from the previous and make it stand on a black vertex with the white vertex directly above it, as shown in this particular picture. So we can see that the intensity is along the line joining the two vertices. That means the grayscale is along the line joining these two vertices, the black and the white. In the arrangement shown in this particular picture, the line, that is the intensity axis, joining the black and the white vertices is vertical. Thus, if you wanted to determine the intensity component of any color point in this picture, we should simply pass a plane perpendicular to the intensity axis and containing the color point. The intersection of the plane with the intensity axis will give us a point with intensity value which is in between the range from 0 to 1. We can also note from this picture that with a little thought, the saturation of a color increases as a function of distance from the intensity axis. So in fact, the saturation of the points on the intensity axis will be 0, as can be seen by the fact that all the points along this axis, they are gray color. In order to see how the hue can be determined from the given RGB point, now we are going to consider another picture which is showing a plane defined by the 3 points, that is black, white and cyan. So the black and white points are contained in the plane, and it is telling that the intensity axis is also contained in the plane. We can see that all the points contained in this plane segment is defined by the intensity axis, and the boundaries of the cube have the same hue. We can arrive at the same conclusion by seeing from the previous section that all the colors generated by these three colors lie in a triangle defined by those colors. If two of those points are black and white and the third is a color point, all the points on the triangle can have the same hue because the black and the white components cannot change the hue. By rotating the shaded plane about the vertical intensity axis, we obtain different hues. So from these concepts, we can understand that the hue, saturation and the intensity values, they are required to form the HSI space, and they can be obtained from the RGB color space. That is, we can convert any RGB point to the corresponding point in the HSI color model by working out some geometric formulas, and then we are going to describe the reasoning what we are going to have in this particular discussion. So the key point is regarding the cube arrangement here is that the corresponding the HSI color space is the HSI space which is represented by the vertical intensity axis and the locus of the color points that are going to lie on the planes perpendicular to this axis. As the planes are moving up and down the intensity axis, the boundaries defined by the intersection of each plane with the faces of the cube have either a triangular or hexagonal shape. This can be visualized much more easily by looking at the cube down its grayscale axis as shown in this particular slide. In this plane, we can see that the primary colors are separated by 120 degrees. The secondary colors are 60 degrees from the primaries, which means that the angle between the secondaries is also equal to 120 degrees. This figure over here, it shows the same hexagonal shape and an arbitrary color point that is shown as a dot. The hue of the point is determined by an angle from some reference point. Usually, the angle of 0 degree from the red axis designates 0 hue, and the hue is going to increase counterclockwise from there. The saturation is the length of the vector from the origin to the point. So you have to observe that the origin is defined by the intersection of the color plane with vertical intensity axis. The important components of the HSI color space are the vertical intensity axis, the length of the vector to the color point, and the angle this vector makes with the red axis. Therefore, it is not unusual to see the HSI plane to be defined in terms of the hexagon just described as a triangle or even a circle. So that means we can go for visualizing this HSI plane in terms of a triangle or even a circle. Basically, we had now seen how it can be represented by hexagon, and this hexagon can also be visualized as a triangle or even a circle. Like as it is shown in this particular picture, the second and the third one, we can go for a circular representation or a triangular representation. The shape chosen here, it is not going to matter because any one of these shapes can be changed into other two by the geometric transformation. If it is a triangle, we can change that to a circle. The circle can be changed to a hexagon, and similarly vice versa. We can go on change from one shape to another shape over here. So this hue and transfer saturation in the HSI color model can be visualized as hexagon, triangle or a circular fashion, where the dot is the arbitrary color point and the angle from the red axis, it is going to give the hue, and the length of the vector is the saturation. The intensity of all the colors in any of these planes, it is given by the position of the plane on the vertical intensity axis. This picture over here, it is showing the HSI model, which is based on the color triangles and also on the circles. So we can see here the HSI color model is based on the planes which are triangle as well as circular. The triangles and the circles, they are perpendicular to the vertical intensity axis, as can be seen in this particular picture. Now we will see how we can go for converting from the RGB to the HSI color model. So if we are having an image which is in the RGB color format, the H component of each of these RGB pixel, it can be used, it can be calculated by making use of this equation where H is equal to theta if B is less than or equal to G, and 360 minus theta if B is greater than G, where the theta value can be got by making use of the cos inverse of the red, green and blue components. The saturation component, that is the S, the capital S, which is called as the saturation component, it will be given by this particular formula where we are having 3 by the combination of red, green and blue into the minimum of R, G and B. And finally, the intensity component, it is given by 1/3 of the red, green and blue components. So now we will see how we can convert from the HSI to the RGB color model. For this, what we are going to do, we are going to divide the entire model into three sectors, that is the RG sector, the GB sector and the BR sector, each consisting of 120 degrees. So in the RG sector, when the angle is between from 0 to 120 degree, we can go for calculating the values of the red, green and blue in terms of the intensity, hue and the saturation. And in the GB sector, when the angle is between 120 degree to 240 degree, here again the angle is going to change, and in the cos what we are going to use, that will be different. In the cos here you can see it is equal to h minus 60, and in the cos h minus 120, unlike in the previous one. In the GB sector, we can calculate the RGB values again by using intensity, saturation and hue, but here the angle will be different from the previous one. In the BR sector, where the angle is between 240 degrees to 360 degrees, if h is in this range, we can go for subtracting 240 degrees from it, and we are going to get h is equal to h minus 240 degrees, and then the RGB components are calculated by using the saturation, hue and the intensity. So uses of these three equations, they will be discussed variously in many places in the image processing systems. In this particular picture, we are seeing the hue, saturation and the intensity images for the RGB values, what we have seen in the previous case. This, in the A picture, it is a hue image. So the distinguishing feature is its discontinuity in the value along a 45 degrees line in the red plane of the cube. To understand the reason for this discontinuity, we can see that when we draw a line from the red to the white vertices of the cube, we can select a point in the middle of this line, and we are referring to one particular color. Starting at that point, we are going to draw a path to the right following the cube until you return to the same starting point. The major colors which are encountered in this path are the yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta and back to red color again. So the values of the hue along the path, it is going to increase from 0 degree to 360 degree. This is the what we are going to show, that the lowest value is represented as the black and the highest value is the white color. This is on the grayscale. So the hue image was originally normalized to the range from 0 to 1, and then it is scaled to 8 bits. That is, it was converted to the range 0 to 255 for displaying on the computer monitor. Because on the computer monitor now we can only have the digital values. The saturation image, that is the B what is there, in this the B picture what is there, it is going to show progressively darker values towards the white vertex of the RGB cube, which is indicating that the colors become less and less saturated as they are approaching the white color. Finally, every pixel in the intensity image, which is shown in the figure C, it is the average of the RGB values at the corresponding pixels, that is the color cube. So now we can see how we can manipulate the images in the HSI model. So in order to manipulate, what we are going to do, first we are going to convert it from the RGB to the HSI model, and then we are going to perform the manipulations under the HSI, and then we can go for converting again the image back to the RGB color model. So let us now discuss how we can go for manipulating the HSI images. So from this we can understand clearly how actually this HSI color model is working. So in the next slides we are going to have the visual representation where the image will be consisting of the primary and the secondary RGB colors, and then we can see how this image can be manipulated by using different components of the H, S and I. So remember that all these values what were there, they are now expressed in the form of the angles. So depending upon the angles, now we have to go for understanding the HSI color model and how it is converted to different type of color models. So this picture over here, it is giving us the RGB image and the components of its corresponding HSI image. This picture is giving the modified HSI components in the figure A, B and C, and the D we can see the resulting RGB image. To change the individual color of any region in the RGB image, we can change the values of the corresponding region in the hue image which is represented in the figure B. Then we can convert the new H image along the unchanged S and I images back to the RGB value by making use of the previous procedure. The image in figure 5.7, this particular A, it was obtained by changing to 0 the pixels which are corresponding to the blue and the green regions in the figure B. In the figure B, we can reduce by half of the saturation of the cyan region in the component image S from the figure C. So these are the different ways how we can go for manipulations in the HSI color model. The pseudo color image processing, it is concerned with the false color image processing, which is consisting of assigning the colors to the gray values based on a specific color criteria. The term pseudo or false color is used here to differentiate the process of assigning the colors to the monochrome images from the processes associated with the true color images. The principal use of the pseudo-color is for human visualization and interpretation of the grayscale events in an image or a sequence of images. The fact that the human beings can differentiate between thousands of color shades and intensities, which is compared to only few dozens of gray color. That is the reason why we are going for the pseudo-color image processing. The intensity slicing is one technique, and the color coding is one of the simplest example of the pseudo-color image processing. If an image is interpreted as a three-dimensional function, then this method can be viewed as one of the placing planes which is parallel to the coordinate plane of the image. Each plane, then we are going to slice the functions in the area of the intersection. So in the next picture, we are going to see how this example of using a plane at f of xy, it is equal to Li, that is to slice the image function into two levels. If a different color is assigned to each side of the plane, as shown in this particular picture, any pixel whose intensity level is above the plane will be coded with one color, and any pixel below the plane will be coded with the other color. The levels which are lying on the plane itself, they can be arbitrarily assigned any one of the two colors. The result is a two color whose primary appearance can be controlled by moving the slicing plane up and down the intensity values. In general, the technique which can be summarized of the intensity slicing is like this. Let 0 to L-1 represent the grayscale, and let level L0 represent the black, where the f of xy is equal to 0. And the level L-1, it is going to represent the white color, where the f of xy is equal to L-1. Suppose that P planes perpendicular to the intensity axis are defined at levels level 1, L1, 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 L2 up till L of P, then assuming that 0 is less than P, which is less than N-1. That means the P is lying between 0 and L-1. The P planes partition the grayscale into P plus 1 intervals. This P plus 1 intervals are V1, V2 up till V of P plus 1. Intensity to color assignments are made according to the relation of f of xy is equal to C of k if f of xy belongs to V of k, where Ck is the color associated with the kth intensity interval Vk defined by the partitioning planes at L is equal to K minus 1 and L is equal to K. The idea of the planes is useful primarily for a geometric interpretation of the intensity slicing technique. This picture over here shows an alternative representation what we have defined in the previous mapping. According to the mapping function which is shown here, any input intensity level is assigned one of the two colors depending on whether it is above or below the value of the Li, the level Li. When more levels are used, then what is going to happen? This function is going to take the form of a staircase. Intensity to color transformations. The other type of transformations, they are more general and are very capable of achieving a wider range of pseudo-color enhancement results than the simple slicing technique what we have just discussed. An approach that is particularly useful, it is shown over here. Basically, the idea is we are going to perform 3 independent transformations on the intensity of any input pixel. The 3 results are then fed separately into the red, green and blue channels of a color television monitor. This method provides a composite image whose color content is modulated by the nature of the transformation what we are using. Note that these transformations on the intensity values of the image are not functions of position. The previous method is a special case, but there are piecewise linear functions which are used to generate colors. So the method discussed over here can be based on smooth nonlinear functions which as expected gives the technique which is considerably flexible. This is a functional block. In this functional block we can see that this is representing a pseudo-color image processing where we are having the FR, FG and FB. They are fed into the corresponding red, green and blue inputs of the RGB color monitor. So by combining this FR, FG and FB, we are having the first function which is f of xy, and this is divided into 3 transformations. That is, the function for the red transformation is FR of xy, the function for the green transformation is the FG of xy, and the transformation for the blue is FB of x comma y. The previous techniques what we had used, they were based on a single monochrome images, but it will be also interesting to see that we may have to combine several monochrome images into a single color composite. So that image is taken care of in this particular picture where we are combining several monochrome images into one single color composite. So a frequent use of this approach, it is in the multispectral image processing where you'll be having different spectrums. That means it has been got from different type of sensors. So where different sensors are going to produce different monochrome images, and then we have to go for combining them. And each of these colors will be in different spectral bands. This type of additional processes, what are shown over here, they are the techniques such as color balancing, combining images, and selecting the 3 images for the display based on the knowledge about the response characteristics of the sensors which are used here for generating the images. So we can apply the transformations which are got from different sensors, and then we can go for the additional processing and we can get the monochromatic images. So here we are having a picture of a pseudo color coding used when several monochrome images are available and the transformation is applied. The approach is used in combining different spectrums and creating a balanced image which is consisting of images which are got from many other characteristics of the sensors. Okay, then that is it for today's class, and we are going to continue again in the next class. Thank you. Thank you.